Welcome to Spiritual Dessert Trews, episode 93 for Russell Brand and other people. Happy Thanksgiving! Day of thanks. Try not to think about the original reason. Killing turkeys, killing Indians, taking their land. No! I'm going to change the holiday to Gratitude Day. The day I'm grateful for my eyes, my ears, my hearing, my taste, my loving family, loving friends, everything good. Still reading from Revolution. God picked the page again. The page is very interesting. Old Rahanath Swami once told me a story from the Bhagavad Gita about Krishna as a boy that exemplifies the necessity for lightness and joy when confronting dark power. As is often the case of mythical tales. A village was besieged by the mischief and evil perpetuated by a tyrannical and wicked serpent. This serpent was a real arsehole and was living in the lake where the villagers got all their water. He had multiple heads. That means that he was Hydra, a many-headed monster, and he had a few wives too. Oddly, they were depicted as human, and if you don't mind my saying so, quite fit. When I saw them in the form of a statue depicting the event, I was peeved that this venomous troublemaker got to live in his lake with such top-notch crumpet. To say nothing of the fact that there were two of them in the proper version of the story when told by the monk and to me in my garden. This aspect of the tale is skimmed over. He lived in a lake with his two wives and... Wait, mate? What? Two wives? Don't they argue? Does he do it with both of them at the same time? Do they do stuff to each other? The polygamous private relationships of the antagonists were of more interest to me than the fact that he was many-headed evil lake snake in a story about how to live in alignment with God. Eventually, after I purred for a while on what ought to have been a secondary detail, I allowed the embarrassed Swami to continue. The villagers were all ill. Some of them were dying, and the morale was at an all-time low because of its infected water. For all I know, because the fiend behind this cruelty was living la vida loca down there with his double mint, double your pleasure twin brides. So they turned to Krishna, who, although just a kid at the time, was, as the supreme godhead, already the go-to guy in such matters. Krishna is an all-loving deity, supremely powerful, who plays all reality into being with his flute. Sounds like the Pied Piper. That could be a way of saying he's the divine source of original vibration, which is the same as saying in the beginning was the word, or from nothingness came a bang, or a powerful creative sound. I've always liked Krishna as a god because he's jolly, dresses cool, and hangs around in fields and forests with fit women and animals. Plus he's blue. The villagers ask for Krishna's assistance in dealing with the scaly bigamist at the bottom of their reservoir, and of course he agrees. He swoops over the lake, playing his pipe, goading the serpent like Muhammad Ali. The serpent, rowdy and easily wound up, comes smashing through the surface of the water like a beanstalk, all fangs and fury, and Krishna stays cool. He is the avatar of absolute power, so that must take a lot of pressure off of him in situations where mortal combat is involved. Anyone who has ever developed a movie script will know that your protagonist's vulnerability is vital for jeopardy, or there are no stakes. Like Superman has to have kryptonite, or we know that he's invincible, and don't worry when General Zod says he's going to give him a good kicking. Jesus as protagonist in the Gospels is good because, like Superman, he's been sent from another dimension. Like Superman, he's decided to dedicate himself to saving humanity. Like Superman, he's got special powers. Heal the sick, walk on water, food multiplication. His vulnerability is that he is part man and as such can be speared, mocked, nailed up, and at least carnally sacrificed. Krishna, as we always suspect, will be okay because his defining attribute is omnipotence. Perhaps that's why in this tale he's depicted as a child, only partially formed. The fuming amphibian ensnares Krishna and coils about him, squeezing the god as if prey. The onlooking villagers gasp with fear and presumably guilt, as it was them that put him up to this quandary, whilst the serpent's wives cheer him on like moles. Ahahaha, or Essex girlfriends in a parked car. Bro, go on, Dean, kick his head in. Krishna, of course, is untroubled by this attack, where most would be asphyxiated. One of the worst ways to die, I'll bet. I was being choked by a big Scotch bouncer, and it was awful. All my bravado leaked out of me, and I squawked esophageal apologies like a repentant tracheotomy patient. Krishna, instead, using his secret and plot-ruining weapon, omnipotence, slims himself down to the size of a Nutella cigar, slinks out, and leaps onto one of the serpent's heads. Then he resumes his normal size and begins a dance of jaunty, spry, and by all accounts powerful jig across the villain's brow. As Krishna plays his pipe and dances, the serpent becomes at first bewildered, then weakened, and eventually despairing. Krishna's gentle but potent dance is killing the beast. Crucially, at no point does Krishna seem agitated. He does the whole thing in a spirit of great fun, as if there were no consequences, nothing to worry about at all. The serpent flails and spasms and droops, hopelessly spewing his venom. Evidently, Krishna is enjoying himself so much that he scarcely even notices. He's completely in the moment. Eventually, the serpent's wives, let's call them Carol and Sue, participate in the story in a meaningful way by begging Krishna to show mercy. Krishna, who, let's face it, is a damn fine fellow and the source of all wonder and heavenly glory, agrees. The subjugated and battered snake has been irreversibly changed by the encounter. Far from seeing his pummeling as a humiliation, he has been converted by Krishna's grace and says he'll be of no more bother, if memory serves. Continues to live in the lake, but in a more community-spirited capacity. Like a lifeguard. I don't know if he kept his wives. The point of the story is Krishna's joy that he doesn't become the thing he's trying to defeat. He, on his own terms, thwarts the monster and creates love from hatred. The end. Love you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Love you all. Thank you for everything, universe. Happy Thanksgiving.